What up, what up, what up, football fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast, brought to you by Game Changers. I'm your host, Big C. You know what time it is. Fins up all day, every day. How's everybody doing this morning? How is everybody doing this morning? I hope you all had the opportunity to check me out last night on CB83 Fins Take. We had a pretty good discussion last night. What up, Raphael? What's up? How you doing this morning? Yeah, I got a chance to join CB last night. We had a real good discussion. And sometimes the fan base sometimes gets stuck on things that aren't going to happen. They get stuck on the unreality of things. I mean, you can have a wish list. Don't get me wrong. As Dolphin fans, we probably all got a wish list. We all wish this would happen or that would happen, or we wish we would have got this guy or that guy. But we got to live in reality. We got to live in reality. And the reality is that we got a lot of holes to fill. We're stuck with Chris Greer for at least another season. We're stuck with Mike McDaniel for at least another season. We're stuck with Tua Tagovailoa for at least another season. That's the reality of it, and that's what we gotta. That's what the cards that we're dealt right now. So we build on that and move forward. What up, Grandizer 12? What's the Steve stand for? It stands for Chris. It stands for Chris. Nothing nasty, nothing. Today, Coach Weaver interviews with the Saints. Yeah, I mean, that would definitely be a loss. I'd like to have a defensive coordinator for more than 1 year, but I understand that he's got to do what's best for him and his family. Me, TD, and Miss Phins, and CB had a discussion about Coach Weaver and why did we bring him on in the first place. We knew that he was going to be looking for head coaching jobs, blah, 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 blah. And, TD was like, no, we shouldn't have went after him. We should go after the guy that's going to be here for years and years and years. And I get that. I get that you want someone that's going to be here. But at the same time, you're not supposed to go after the top defensive coordinators that are available because they may leave. I don't follow that. Do you not go? You don't. In my opinion, you bring the best of the best possible person for your team. You bring them on, and maybe they're only here for a year, but usually they're bringing on somebody that's under them that has been with them for a long time, knows their system, and they should be able to pick up the pieces and keep things rolling in the right direction without a hiccup. You know what I mean? How do we know Weaver ain't going to be here for years and years? Who knows how it will all play out? We don't know. Yeah, I mean, we don't know how it's going to play out. We don't. But I don't think you go into the mindset of thinking, "Hey, this guy's going to be a hot commodity. We shouldn't bring him in because he's going to want to be a coach someday." I don't believe in that. And TD was really adamant about, no, you don't sign people like that. You want people that are going to be here for a long time. And I'm like, the best ones aren't going to want to be here for a long time. They're going to want their own opportunity to be head coaches. Like St. Christopher, the man who carried Christ across the river. Yeah, I mean, yep. St. Christopher. Chris. What up, Chef Jew? How's everybody doing this morning? Coach Chris Shula is a rookie DC for the Rams 1 year, and he's being said, why didn't he become a head coach? Yeah, like if a if a coordinator comes in, let's say he was a linebackers coach, he was a safeties coach, a defensive backs coach, and he comes in and he has a great year with the Dolphins. His name's gonna be, no matter if he's been a defensive coordinator one year or he's been a defensive coordinator in the past, his name's gonna be brought up when it comes to head coaching spots. You want the hot commodity. You want the hot name. So like Robert Saleh. Let's say Weaver leaves. Robert Saleh's out there. He's got a good connection with Mike McDaniel with their time in San Francisco. Do you not bring Robert Saleh on because he could be a coach somewhere else next year? Although we know Robert Saleh is a great defensive mind, a great defensive coach. Do we not go and get him? I look towards this year. This year. If you can help me this year, I'm with it. You can't look the 3-4 years in the future. This coach gonna, first off, none of them coordinators you can guarantee are gonna be here more than a year. None of them. Not a one. So I just disagreed. I disagree with that. Let's see. Let's check out some of this. The whole point with this, that a coach with good resume and he leaves after a year, so be it. Good luck to him. If he stays for many years, good for the Phins. Yeah, that's how I see it. That's how I see it. And if they do leave, like I said, they got someone that was under them that we have a good opportunity to promote. And they probably run the same system. They have the same mindset as that's why they were under the initial defensive coordinator in the first place. Chris, I know TD is your boy, but man, I can't take his brand of Phins football. That's just hogwash for me. Yeah, I mean, TD definitely has his takes, you know what I mean? He is my boy, and we don't agree on everything, you know what I mean? He definitely has his take on things, and I have my take on things. He doesn't believe that we can have a successful season and make a playoff push with Tua. I don't necessarily believe that. I think if Tua can stay healthy and we build the team around Tua, that we can have a successful playoff run. My biggest thing with Tua, my biggest problem with Tua right now is his availability. Miss Phins, what up? What up? Thanks for stopping in. How you doing? Yeah, thank you. Thank you for all the help. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Miss Phins, everybody, make sure you check out her channel. She got great content. She's a great human being. Definitely helps me out anytime I need something. Make sure you check her out. She got a show Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. But y'all probably know that. Y'all probably know Miss Phins. So shout out to Miss Phins. I appreciate it, Miss Phins. Trying to get there. Chris, remember a few years back, what was it, 2019, when everyone wanted Chris Richard? He was supposed to become the next good head coach. I think he is a secondary coach with the Saints. Yeah, he was a defensive back for the coach for the Cowboys at the time, I think. Yep, Chris Richard. I remember, I mean, these names go in and out. They come and they go. One year they're the hot commodity. The next year you never hear from them again. You know what I mean? Like, it all depends. Look at people that were supposed to be the next great head coaches, Adam Gase's of the world. You know what I mean? Like Cam Cameron's of the world that we brought in here to be head coaches because they were supposed to be these offensive masterminds. And what were they? You don't know. Vic Fangio, we brought in Vic Fangio because he was the best available. He was the best guy out there, one of the great defensive coordinators in this league's history. Now it's too bad that he just wanted to be with the Eagles, and at the time the Eagles didn't have an opening, and it's too bad that as soon as they did have an opening, he jumped ship. But do I regret bringing Vic Fangio in here and trying to have the best defensive coordinator we could possibly have? No, I don't regret that. It's just year in and year out. You know, year in and year out, you bring in coaches that you hope that can help your team build and grow. You hope they can help you build and grow, and if they move on, they move on. But it is what it is. If Chris gets 1K, he will have to do a giveaway. Maybe he don't want to do a giveaway, so he don't want to get the 1K, right? Just kidding. Listen, I've already given out $2,000 when I got 5,000 subs. I gave out $2,000. Check it out on my other channel, Game Changers. When I hit 500 subs on this channel, I gave away $2,000. Check it out. I do giveaways, believe it. There'll be another giveaway when we get the 1K. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be. I'm not sure if it's going to be cat. Everybody likes cash, obviously. We're going to be doing giveaways on this channel constantly. Tickets, autograph memorabilia. I got Dolphins, Dan Marino signed footballs, jerseys, not just football related. I got Mike Tyson signed gloves. I got Muhammad Ali signed pictures. I got all types of stuff. Put up. Yeah, who knew Vic Fangio would just bide his time here with the Phins? Lesson learned. The Phins could have done worse. Hope they got it right with Weaver. I believe so. Weaver, considering we didn't have a pass rusher half the season, Weaver did a pretty decent job. At times we didn't look like a top 10 defense, but in rankings we were top 10. In rankings, we were top 10. So considering Jalen Phillips went out, Bradley Chubb never came back. Chop Robinson, he had a learning curve. Considering the fact Shaq Barrett retired last second, considering all of that, he did a damn good job. So I'm excited to see what he can do if we give him more pieces. If Jalen Phillips can come back, if we can rework Bradley Chubb's contract, get him back in the building, if Chop Robinson can continue to develop. We knew he wanted the Eagles. He practically said it when he still hired. You're right. We knew he wanted to be with the Eagles. Did we think that the Eagles were a good team? So did anybody really think that the Eagles were going to go and fire their defensive coordinator and bring in Vic? I don't think so. Why wouldn't they have just did that initially in the first place when Vic was getting ready to leave? So, I think it was a little bit of a surprise that Nick Sirianni went and fired his defensive coordinator a year later. I think Nick Sirianni used his defensive coordinator as a scapegoat and brought Vic back. Which where's the tampering penalty for Vic Fangio? Where's the tampering penalty for the Eagles? Because there's no way they weren't in contact with Vic Fangio before while he was still a Dolphin. No way. There's no way. But again, are you not supposed to go after Vic Fangio? Look where the Philadelphia Eagles are right now. The NFC Championship. Yeah, knew we wanted the Eagles, but didn't mean he actually was going to go coach that way. He did with the Phins, nearly just take a year off courtesy of the Phins. Yeah, why wouldn't you want to be in Miami over Philly? The weather's better. He was the highest paid defensive coordinator in football. I think he was getting paid more than Mike McDaniel. A lot of us want to be somewhere else, but we do what we do where we're at most of the time. We give it our best. Yeah, in hindsight, maybe it wasn't the best move, but I definitely didn't think Philadelphia was moving on from their defensive coordinator when they did. You're absolutely right, Grandizer. You're absolutely right. But let's get into these playoff games. Let's get into these championship games. You got the Washington Commanders taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Vic Fangio and the Philadelphia Eagles. Man, who knew Washington was going to be this good? I'm super excited for this Washington Commanders team. I'm super jealous of them also. I'm not going to lie. I'm super jealous of the Washington Commanders. You draft a quarterback, and he just turned your whole franchise around. You get it right. Look what a great young quarterback can do for your franchise. And this is just the beginning for these Washington Commanders. They're in the NFC Championship game with a rookie quarterback. They got $80 million in cap space coming up. $80 million to add to a team that's already in the NFC Championship game. This team has they have the ability to be really good for the next 4 or 5 years. Like, this team has a chance to really become something special. And I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see it. Who you got? What matchups are you looking for? Any free agents of these last 4 teams that you want to see the Phins sign free agency if they reach it? Yeah, well, I mean, there's a bunch of guys that I'd love to see from all these teams. We'll get into that though. So we got the Washington Commanders, Philadelphia Eagles. Washington's the 6-point underdog, I believe. They've been the underdog the whole way though. They went in, they beat a Detroit team that had dominated most teams this year. Yeah, Detroit was beat up. They were beat up on the defensive side of the ball, but Washington came in and straight out suffocated them. Their offense was immaculate. Jaden Daniels played like an all-pro. He played like he was one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this league. Is Jaden Daniels one of the top 5 quarterbacks in this league already? He just reminds me so much of Lamar Jackson, the way he takes the snap and when he's going to run the ball. And I think he might be a better passer of the ball than Lamar Jackson, which is scary. You have a Lamar Jackson type that can throw the ball better. That's scary. You got Terry McCall. He's a great young receiver. Doesn't get his flowers as much as he should. You got pieces that are undervalued, like Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz is a dog. He's been a good tight end in this league for a long time. Austin Eckler. The running back, what's his name? Brian Robinson Jr. He's a pretty good receiver, a running back. This Washington team is very good. I think they're gonna have trouble beating the Philadelphia Eagles this week, though. The Eagles defense is suffocating. Vic Fangio's got them boys playing really well. The Eagles got great receivers, a really good tight end, but that running game of the Philadelphia Eagles is out of this world. Saquon Barkley is playing on another level this year. He looks unstoppable. He's been the most dynamic player in the league this year by far. Saquon has just been phenomenal. It breaks my heart that he could have been a Miami Dolphin for a 5th-round draft pick. Could you imagine Saquon Barkley being a Miami Dolphin? It really breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And I was pounding the table for it. They were talking about Dalvin Cook at this time. Dalvin Cook. We never ended up bringing Dalvin Cook in, thank God, because Dalvin Cook he was finished. He was finished by the time he was done with the Vikings. But Saquon, this kid he's a freak. He's a freak of nature. He's built like a god. The guy's calves and thighs are just rock solid. They remind me of Eddie George's. No strange that no, but his legs remind me of Eddie George. them big, thick thighs. And it sounds kind of weird, you know what I mean? But the big, thick thighs, they just straight muscle. So much power derived from his legs. He's just crazy. But nobody wants to pay these running backs $12 to $15 million a year. Why not? They're such a big part of your offense. You'll go and you'll pay a wide receiver $30 million, but you won't pay a running back 15. Now, I wouldn't pay every running back $15 million a year, but there's some running backs that are deserving of it. And I believe Saquon Barkley was one of those running backs. I think this is going to be a good game. I think the Eagles end up getting the best of the young kid. Vic Fangio knows how to game plan. He's one of the top defensive coordinators this game's ever seen. I think he's going to make life real difficult for Jane Daniels. Philadelphia is not an easy place to play. I think Saquon's been unstoppable. And I think Saquon's so hungry. Saquon's so hungry. I'd like to see Washington pull it off, but I believe the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game, and it's going to be on the back of Saquon Barkley. I think it's going to be on the back of Saquon Barkley. On the flip side, had the Phins did trade for Saquon, it goes back to the O-line. At least Ricky Williams had an O-line. Saquon's could have done little here. You're absolutely right. And we had discussed that last night on CB83. They kept saying, could you imagine if we traded for Derrick Henry last year? I was like, first off, Derrick Henry was a free agent. I was like, second of all, Derrick Henry wasn't doing nothing with this offensive line. It's not A-Chain's fault that he had the amount of rushing yards that he had. It's not Devon A-Chain's fault that he couldn't get things going last year. This offensive line, I don't care if you're Barry Sanders, and I said these exact words. I don't care if we had Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders is not going to be successful behind this offensive line. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That offensive line creates so many problems for the rest of the team. Creates so many problems. So, yeah, I mean, look what Saquon was doing with the New York Giants, and that was my example. Look, he was with the Giants. He couldn't produce. He run the ball, stuffed. Then he gets to an Eagles team that has a good defense or offensive line, and look at him now. Most dynamic player in football. Chiefs Dynasty, Easy 3P. What up? How you doing today, sir? You lucky guy, you. Now, a lot of people are, let's move on to this AFC game. A lot of people are Chief haters. People love to hate good teams. Oh, we don't want to see the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl. I'm tired of the Chiefs. It's boring. Let's get somebody else in there. Me personally, I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those. I respect greatness. Patrick Mahomes is great. Patrick Mahomes may be the greatest quarterback that has ever played this game when it's all said and done. There's only one thing about this team that irritates me, and it's one of the things that it's Patrick Mahomes too. People they get mad at him because he's great. They get mad at him because he wins and he's always there. I get mad at him because of the crybaby shit. I can't take the crybaby, the crying to the officials. I can't take that. He's too good of a player for the nonsense he does sometimes. He's too great of a player. He doesn't need to do that extra stuff. And I think it really is hurting his legacy. I really do. I think it's hurting his legacy. Pat, you don't need to do that. You're too great. You don't need to get the little extra things. You don't need to fool them and trick them into getting a 15-yard penalty. Does it help your team? Yeah. Do you do everything in your ability to help your team win? Yeah. But Pat, you don't need to do that. It's beneath you. Honestly, I think it's beneath them. Chris, I don't root for the Bills. I can't root for the Bills. Just can't do it. Nah, let KC win. These are the same fans that were crying with the Pats winning in the 2000s. That was considered a dynasty. Yeah, I agree. I can't root for the Bills. I can't do it. I refuse to root for the Bills. I refuse. I respect the Bills. I respect Josh Allen. He's done great things this year, but I refuse to cheer for those scallywag Buffalo Bills. The Chiefs defense, though, man, they are so good. Yeah, the Chiefs defense is good. They've carried this team the last 2 years. If we're being honest, the Chiefs defense has carried them the last 2 years. Agree to disagree. Tua needed better coaching, better weapons, better O-line. Quarterback should make other players around him. Tua is a bridge quarterback, not a franchise quarterback. Dolphins need to draft a quarterback. Raphael, I'm not saying that Tua is the answer. I'm not saying that I want Tua to be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. I'm saying that if we build around him, we can still be successful. We can. There's only a couple Patrick Mahomes. There's only a couple Josh Allens, Lamar Jacksons. There's only a couple of those. Dolphins must look for an answer at quarterback. Yes. But the major reason that they need to is because of Tua's availability. 1 out of 5 years healthy. I understand Mahomes and Burrow O-line issues and losing Super Bowls. Yeah, I mean, Raphael, we're on the same page, brother. We're not disagreeing. I don't think. We're not disagreeing, I don't think. Do I want to go and get a new quarterback? Yes. Do I think we could make it to the championship game with Tua Tagovailoa? Yes, if a bunch of things go our right way. Miss Phins, we already built around him and spent the money and he couldn't do it. We've never given him a good offensive line, Miss Phins. We've never given him a really true, legit offensive line. You can give him the top 10 receivers, the top 10 running backs, but if you don't have an offensive line, you got to build from the trenches out. If you don't do that, how is a quarterback really supposed to be successful? I'm not saying he's our franchise quarterback. I'm not saying that. He's not good enough. But to say that if we improve the offensive line and build the offensive line up a little bit and build the trenches, build a team the correct way, you're saying that we can't win 2 more games than we have? Because we've been to the playoffs twice. We almost made the playoffs last year with Tua missing 6 games. So are you saying that if we had a top 10 offensive line that we couldn't win a playoff game or 2? Why does he need a good O-line? Look at Pat Mahomes couldn't win a Super Bowl with a bad O-line. He got beat by the Bucs. Joe Burrow can't make the playoffs with a bad O-line. I mean, they got a bad defense too, but Joe Burrow has trouble staying healthy behind a bad O-line. Like, come on. You can't run the ball without a good O-line. This O-line is historically bad. Raphael, you said Armstead, Connor Williams, Hunt, and Jackson was okay line, best lineup to his head. Yes. But how many games did Armstead play? Hunt missed 8 games that year. Correct? Is that correct, Raphael? Armstead, how many games did he miss? How many games did Hunt miss that year? Five years with Tua and has shown we can't go for but he's shown that we can make the playoffs. Yeah, that's the best the O-line had gotten, but they had missed a lot of games. Number one offense, number one rushing, and did nothing with it last year. Listen, this is not a debate that I'm trying to even have. We got Tua this year. I don't think Tua's the answer at quarterback. Again, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this Miami Dolphins team can be better than what they were last year. They've proven that. If you improve the offensive line. If you say that we're not, if we get a top 5 offensive line, we're not going to make the playoffs. How? If you say improving this offensive line does nothing, then how does that make sense? Because in the next sentence, people will say, well, you got to build the team the right way. You got to build from the trenches out. Well, we don't build from the trenches out, but we blame Tua. Tua's unavailable. He doesn't have the availability. I can't take putting a team around him when we already have. He did nothing with it. Miss Phins, but we have it completely. We have it the right way. But I'm cool with that. Yes, 5 straight games, but we had no offensive line. It was garbage. The offensive line was garbage. We couldn't run the ball. The defenses knew we couldn't run the ball, so they stopped the pass. They were. That's the thing with the Dolphins community is that I'm not saying that Tua is the answer. I think that we should absolutely look for a new quarterback, but we're not getting a new quarterback this year. We're not getting a new quarterback this year. It's not that Tua needs more time in the pocket. Tua needs a running game that the defense respects. He needs an offensive line that can run the ball. It's easy to make them one dimensional because of the offensive line. If the team can't run the ball, they got to pass. It's easy to stop the pass. But yeah, we're gonna number one running game last year with nothing to do with it. That was just because our running backs played above their level. Look how many big runs they broke. The offensive line might be better at blocking for running than it was for passing, but we got rid of the ball so quick. But look, when we don't have a running game, I'm not going to continue the debate the same thing. We want the same thing, so what are we arguing about? If you say that if we improve the offensive line, if we can't win a playoff game, I don't know what to say to that because we've made the playoffs with trash offensive line. But anyway, Bills and Chiefs. Man, I can't stand the Bills. They're not the team in the AFC East I hate the most. I mean, that's reserved for the Jets. But I can't mess with any AFC team. Josh Allen has played phenomenal this year. Everybody thought the Bills would take a step back with all the veterans they lost. Jordan Poyer, a bunch of they just lost a bunch of key components to this defense. And you just thought that this was an opportunity the other teams to make their run. I really thought it was going to be the Dolphins and Jets at the top of the AFC East. But Josh Allen played 100% like an MVP. Josh Allen, a lot of people had given Josh Allen the MVP like 2/3 through the year. Josh Allen he was the first player in NFL history that had 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns in the same game. Absolutely phenomenal. He's just been great. That's the type of quarterback I wish Miami could find, but they're far and few between. You know what I mean? It's hard to find a quarterback like that. That's why there's only 4 or 5 of them in the whole NFL. The Buffalo Bills got lucky and got one. The Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season this year, but we've seen this story before. The Buffalo Bills beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and then it comes playoff time, and as much as the Buffalo Bills are the Miami Dolphins' daddy, Pat Mahomes is Josh Allen's daddy. Josh Allen has a real opportunity to. This is the first time that I feel like maybe Buffalo has a real shot to knock them off. And I hate to say it. But this is the one opportunity that I feel like if the Buffalo Bills can't get it done against this Kansas City Chiefs team, they might as well pack it in if they play the Chiefs in the playoffs. This is their chance. KC and Bengals make it to the Super Bowl with trash O-line. We can't get past first round. I'm just saying. Yeah, Kansas City and the Bengals have a better quarterback. They got a better quarterback, Raphael. I'm not disputing that. So, of course, they're going to make it past. Yeah, I was so rooting for the Broncos versus the Bills. Josh Allen is another who gets special treatment. He does. He does that crybaby stuff to the refs, too. He definitely does. What's wrong with the great quarterbacks in this league doing it? I mean, I remember Dan Marino back in the day barking at the refs, but he wasn't whining to them. You know what I mean? He would give them a piece of his mind, but he wouldn't, oh, he hit me late. Look at, where's my flag? He might talk shit to them, but he was never one of those people that begged for a flag. You know what I mean? This day and age, even in the NBA, other sports, the flopping is ridiculous. But it's the league's fault. It's the league's fault for giving into this. It's the league's fault for giving into these players and letting them call their own flags. How many times have you seen a player hit over the middle after a pass and there's no flag, but the receiver jumps up and looks around, throws his hands in the air? All of a sudden, there's a late flag. How often do we see that? It's on a weekly basis. They're calling their own flags. If you get up and throw a fit like there was a pass interference, chances are you're going to get a late flag, and it's ridiculous. Bills and Broncos, only teams to beat KC in the season this year. Yeah, I mean, Kansas City should have lost a couple more. They got lucky in a couple games. But they can, that's what great teams get some luck. You know what I mean? Sometimes great teams need a little luck. I always felt like the Kansas City Chiefs, they've played in so many big games, 7 straight AFC championships, 7 straight. You know how boring the regular season is for them? They just come out there and do enough to make sure that they get into the playoffs, win their division, maybe get the first round bye. But it's got to be overly boring for them. When you've played in as many big games as the Kansas City Chiefs have in the last 7 years, the regular season's got to be like just so dull to them. So when the playoffs come, they turn into a different team. They become a different animal. They're more dangerous. They're the Kansas City Chiefs that we know, and you either love them, you despise them, or you know what I mean. You got to respect them though, and that's the team that the Kansas City Chiefs become in the AFC in the champion in the playoffs. Marino kissed Ray Finkel in Pet Detective movie. Anyone get some gum? he did do that. He did do that. Did you hope Ravens were going to make the Super Bowl for not the Bills or the Chiefs? To be honest, I did. To be honest, I did want to see. I wanted to see Lamar get over the hump. I did want to see that. I did want to see the Ravens go to the Super Bowl. I thought it would have made for an interesting Super Bowl. The reason why the Chiefs had a struggle season before because Kadarius Toney, who sucks. Yeah, I mean Toney was definitely awful. They were the receivers for the Chiefs last year really were absolutely terrible. Terrible. It was like they couldn't catch anything. Pat Mahomes was so frustrated last year. And look at they still won a Super Bowl. I picked Ravens in the Super Bowl to a Derrick Henry addition. Yeah. Derrick Henry, man. It's another mistake this front office made. We struggle to run the ball on third and short, fourth and short, and we don't get the best possible running back for them situations. And he wanted to be in Miami, which is sad. He wanted to be in Miami. It's absolutely sad. But anyway, back to these predictions. Travis Kelce showed up last week. Travis Kelce, he's probably the greatest tight end in NFL history. Let's be real. He's not the same Travis as a few years back. A couple of those passes he caught last week, he would have probably took to the house, the old Travis. He just knows how to get open. In these clutch. He makes the catch when they need it. Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid, they just know how to beat the Buffalo Bills when shit hits the fan. They know how to beat this Buffalo Bills team. Now Josh Allen's played at a different level this year. Does he got one more heroic game in him? James Cook's been great for them. They got really good tight ends. I can't stand the Buffalo Bills defense. I feel like they do a lot of late hitting. I especially hate Matt Milano. I think Matt Milano is a dirty ass player. He's responsible for Tua's first concussion, the one that was not a concussion, all because he wanted to give Tua a late push after the ball had been gone. We had Chris Brooks, but we let him go away. He was that short yardage player. I wanted to put him on injury reserve and keep him. And this is an even hindsight. Yeah, I mean, we did have Chris Brooks. He played pretty good for the Packers after they got him. He had the opportunity. We just didn't give him the opportunity. That's the problem with Mike McDaniel. Like he'll continue to hand the ball up the middle to Devon Achane, even though Achane's 5'8", 185 pounds. 5'8", 185 pounds. We had Jeff Wilson in the back on the team, who's an angry runner. I'd rather see Jeff Wilson at 3rd and 1 than Devon Achane. That's a problem with Mike McDaniel's coaching scheme. That's a problem with Mike McDaniel not putting the right players in the right positions to succeed. That KC defense is licking the chops. They will go after Josh Allen with extreme prejudice. I mean, yeah, I mean, these two teams don't like each other. They're going to play their hardest. We got to see some drops from Travis Kelce like Mark Andrews did for the Ravens. Ouch. Yeah, I mean, Mark Andrews definitely, he killed that team. Buffalo doesn't win that game if Mark Andrews doesn't mess up. I feel like the Baltimore Ravens beat themselves more than the Buffalo Bills beat them. And that's not me being a hater. I'm not hating on the Bills. People are going to say, oh, you're just saying that because you're a Dolphins fan, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. But look at the stats. Josh Allen didn't have a crazy good game. None of them had a crazy good game. They just didn't turn the ball over. They didn't make the mistakes. Yeah, Milano is a dirty player. Never liked him. Yeah, I watch him. Watch him this weekend. Watch this whole Buffalo Bills defense. They're always coming in with the late hit. Always coming in with the late hit. What do you think about Chris Greer? I think Chris Greer needs to go. I think Chris Greer is great for if you like the splashy play. If you like the splashy addition. I don't trust him. I don't trust his drafting. He likes to pick prospects that have potential but aren't NFL ready. I think he waits too long on players to develop that never end up developing. Look how long we waited on Noah Iganagani. Look how many opportunities and how long we went on him. Channing Tindall. Look how long he's been on the team with nothing, produced nothing. Liam Eichenberg. Still thinking he's an acceptable starting right guard for us. Look at his draft history. Cam Smith. Absolutely horrid. Even players that you think that he hit on, like Javon Holland. Javon Holland had 2 good years for us, has fallen off since then. Jalen Phillips. This guy was a first-round pass rusher. 6 picks ahead of him was Micah Parsons. Is he on their level? What's the most sacks he's ever had in a year? 8? That's not good enough for a first-round pick. It's not good enough. Austin Jackson, supposed to be a left tackle, our all-pro left tackle, first-round pick. He's only a decent right tackle. He's not even an elite right tackle. He's a decent right tackle. He couldn't hang at left tackle. Agreed. Bills were given the game. Tyler is a Dolphins fan. He hates the Bills a lot, like Tyree does. Not like Bills, Jets, Patriots. He cares about the Dolphins. Okay. Fly, Eagles, fly. Okay, we got Eagles guy in the house. How you doing? Congratulations on getting Saquon Barkley. Very jealous of that. Very, very jealous. Easy E, Tyndall, good. You're absolutely right, Raphael. The list goes on and on. Chris Greer is Charles Harris, D end. Yep. Could have had TJ Watt there. Could have had TJ Watt. Josh Allen owns the Dolphin. He wants to own the Dolphins since Tom Brady owned the Bills. Yeah, he definitely does own the Dolphins. He definitely does. What can you say? He's a great quarterback. He's great. I respect the dude. He's a great quarterback. I'm jealous that he's a Buffalo Bill. I take Josh Allen in a minute. That's why I don't want to get into these debates about the Tua thing. Like, we can sit here and do that to ourselves all day. Tua is the answer. Tua is not the answer. Tua is not the answer. But to say that we can't win a playoff game without Tua is ridiculous. With Tua is ridiculous. Dolphins beat Tom Brady a lot before Bills couldn't beat Tom Brady. Yeah, I mean, Tom Brady, we definitely beat Tom Brady more than any other team in the NFL did. Tua owns the Patriots. Tua owns the Jets too. I don't think he's ever lost to the Patriots or the Jets. But enough of the Tua. I mean, Tua's our quarterback this year, so we're going to talk about him. And just because I say that we can have a successful year this year doesn't mean I want him as the quarterback of the future. Because I can't trust the guy to stay healthy. I can't trust them to stay healthy. Our GM has drafted 61 players since 2016. Only 22 players drafted are still Dolphins roster. 21 players are no longer in the NFL. Our GM doesn't know talent. GM handicap team. Raphael just spit out a real stat. Let's pop it up there. That's the writing on the wall right there. Now, of all those players, Raphael, I mean, you're an investigative reporter right now. How many of those have turned into all pros? How many all pros are of those 61 players? How many all pros and Pro Bowl, perennial Pro Bowlers has he drafted out of those 61 players? How many? But anyway, Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, only 5 Pro Bowlers. That's including AVG this year. Yeah, Pro Bowl for another team. Look at that. Also, we could bring in Shaq Barrett, who retired on us, and then ended up wanting to come back and play for the Eagles and the Bucks. And absolute joke. Absolute joke. Just T. Hill. Who do you guys got in this game, Buffalo, Kansas City? For some reason, I just feel like I hate to do it. I hate to do it, but I feel like Buffalo is gonna pull it out. I feel like this Buffalo. Not so much that I have confidence in Buffalo. I just feel like if Buffalo can't do it this year, Buffalo's never gonna do it. If Buffalo can't get by this Kansas City Chiefs team, they're never. This is the weakest. I feel this is the weakest the Chiefs have been. So if you can't beat this Chiefs team, I think it's a wrap for them. I think it's a wrap for them. I got Case. Grandizer says I got KC over the Bills. That KC defense is legit. Yeah, I mean, if you slow down Josh Allen, you can win the game. You can win the game. I just don't trust the Chiefs. The Chiefs' offensive skill players. Curtis Weaver, Dion was drafted and quit team. Year drafted. Guy was second leading sacked in college behind Chase Young that year. Yeah, I remember Curtis Weaver. I remember him. I got Eagles over Commanders. Eagles got some banged up players, but as long as Hurts is playing, he's the X factor, like another quarterback back there. Zach says I got the Chiefs over the Bills. Patrick Mahomes owns Josh Allen in the playoffs, and it's at Arrowhead. Yeah, man, I'm changing my pick. Zach, you're right. It's at Arrowhead. Pat does own Josh Allen. Zach says he got the Eagles over the Commanders. Yeah, I think it's going to be Andy Reid not going back to Philly, facing his former team, the Philadelphia Eagles, in the Super Bowl. I'm going to say the Eagles win 31-27, and I'm going to say that the Chiefs win 24-20. Chiefs versus Eagles Super Bowl. And that should be a pretty good Super Bowl. I hate the Eagles head coach. I hate Nick Sirianni. I don't like his ass. So I'm really hoping the Commanders win. I'd like to see the Commanders win it all, honestly. If I had to be real, I'd like to see the Commanders win it all. Those GM numbers should increase with the departure of players like Skyler in this upcoming season. Yeah, listen, I can't wait till the day that we're hiring a new GM. I don't hate Mike McDaniel, but I think he's over his head lots of times. I can't wait till we're in a position where we're hiring a new head coach. And I can't wait for the day. I've been waiting for 30 plus years. A day that we can really say that we got a franchise quarterback. I really can't wait. What did you think about the Lions? The Lions were beat up on the defensive side of the ball. It finally caught up to them. Jared Goff laid an egg. The defense wasn't good enough to overcome it. And hopefully can replace their offense and defensive coordinators, and they can get back there, because I like seeing the Lions do good. They've been bad for so long. I like seeing the Lions do good. He did go to the Browns and out of the league. Dude quit on us. Yeah. I was high on Curtis Weaver going into the draft. He would have been a steal for the Phins, but he played in a 4-3 in college. Flores ran a 3-4, so not a good fit. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many players that we could have had instead of other players if Chris Greer if we had a competent GM. If we had a competent GM, this team could already be a great team. But we got what we got, and that's what we got to work with. Now, in my opinion, if Tua can stay healthy, and that's a big if, that's a very big if. If Tua can stay healthy and Chris Greer can make some magic happen with the salary cap, we address the offensive line in the draft and in free agency, that'll improve our running game. If we improve our running game, that will open the passing game back up. Because Tyreek Hill threw a fit, I think they go back to feeding Tyreek Hill, and we were pretty successful when they fed Tyreek Hill. We were pretty successful. So again, if they improve the offensive line, that opens up the running game. If the running game gets opened up, that opens up the passing game. If Weaver stays another year with Weaver, we get our pass rush back. Jalen Phillips hopefully comes back healthy. Bradley Chubb, hopefully we can rework his contract. Chop Robinson continues to develop. We had a top 10 defense stat wise last year. With a pass rush, we should be even better. So I don't think it's unrealistic to think that we can't win 11 games next year. And I don't think it's unrealistic to think that we can win a playoff game. And then if you get super lucky, maybe you win 2 playoff games. And where does that have you? It has you in the AFC Championship game. It's not impossible, folks. Is it a long shot? It is. It is. But it's not impossible. We'll get more in depth into the salary cap. It's a very complicated thing. Barry Jackson wrote an article. We're going to dig into that, how reworking Tua's contract, although it will hurt us in the future. But again, I said last night on CBA 3, our coaching staff right now and our general manager right now aren't concerned with the future. They're concerned with this year, and they'll do anything and everything to save their jobs. So they're going to hurt us in the future. Any move that they make this year, they're going to hurt us in the future. But they don't care about the future. They care about now and winning games now so they can keep their jobs. So they're going to improve the offensive line. I truly believe they will. I think they're going to put their best foot forward this year. And I think this is probably going to be the best team that we've ever had under Mike McDaniel. But it all stems to Tua. It all comes down to Tua. And if Tua can stay healthy. Because if Tua misses 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games, it's a wrap for this Miami Dolphins team. And then hopefully we lose enough games that, listen, if he misses 6 games again, I hope he misses 10. I hope he misses 12. Don't just go miss 6, Tua. If you're going to miss 4 games, if you're going to miss 5 games, if you're going to miss 6, I don't want you at all. Because I'd rather bite the bullet, go 1-16, 1-17, whatever the number is, and get the top pick in the draft and bring in our quarterback of the future. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what I want to see. That's what my expectations are, and that's what I'm hoping for. Hey Chris, will you watch the East-West Shrine Bowl and then the Senior Bowl? I read where the Phins secondary coach is coaching the secondary in the Senior Bowl. Yeah, I'll probably check it out. You know when them games are? Make sure you guys like, subscribe, comment, and share. Again, like, I don't want us to argue. I don't want to disagree with y'all. Like, I think we're all on the same page. And I know that you're frustrated with Tua Tagovailoa. I am too. But there has been positives in Tua's time here. Not a lot, but we have been a playoff team. We've had a top offense in the NFL. We have. And if the right moves are made this year, we can be back to a top offensive team. Are we going to be as good as the great teams with great quarterbacks? No, we're not. We don't have a great quarterback. We don't have a Joe Burrow. We don't have a Pat Mahomes. We don't have a Josh Allen. But we have a quarterback that can win us some games in this system if everything goes right. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that we did make some playoff runs. Let's not forget that our quarterback did miss 6 to 8 games last year, and we did only fall 1 game short. You got to keep hope. I could sit here and be miserable about the position we're in. I choose not to be. I've seen what really bad teams look like, and you guys have too. Don't forget about when Cleo Lemon was our quarterback, or, you know what I mean, Josh Beck, or don't forget those times. And although things might look bleak right now, they're not as bleak as they have been in the past. So let's just look at the positives and try to figure out what we can do with the things that we can do. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody's position. You know, everybody, yeah, Raphael, you know it, Marcus Fix, Sage Rosenfeld's, Gus Farrat's, you know, Chad Henney's. Come on. You guys know. You guys know what it is. Just let's just all keep it real. I'm going to give it to you 100. I'm not a Tuanier. We need a new quarterback. Absolutely. But I'm not going to sit here and throw in the towel because Tua's still our quarterback this year. I'm not going to do it. Scott Mitchell is okay. Nah, Scott Mitchell he filled in for Dan Good one year, and then he went to the Lions and was a straight bum. he filled in for Dan one year good, but other than that, he was a bum. But anyway, thanks for tuning in. It's the Dolphins, I wish it was the Dolphins. Eagles, Chiefs, Super Bowl. Let's see how it turns out. I appreciate you all. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share. We can agree to disagree, but I feel like we're on the same page. We just got a different way of getting there. You know what I mean? But I appreciate you all. I thank you guys for coming through. Make sure you guys keep coming through. Make sure you guys support the channel. When we do get to 1,000 views, 1,000 subscribers, there will be another huge giveaway. I gave away $2,000 for 500 subs. Imagine what I'm going to do for 1,000. Just imagine. But like, comment, share, and keep tuning in. I appreciate every one of y'all. Thank you so much for stopping in and talking football with me. You know what it is. Fins up forever. We'll get there someday. Have the faith. Keep it alive. Peace.